Hello, welcome to the Ingleside Public Library Story Time. Today we'll be reading Happy Valentine's, Dolores by Barbara Samuels. Most of the time, Dolores and her big sister Faye got along just fine. But Dolores had a habit of sneaking into Faye's room and borrowing a few things. Finally, Faye decided she'd had enough. Never again, she said. For 3 whole days the sisters didn't speak to each other. Duncan, said Dolores, would you mind asking Faye to please pass the ketchup? For weeks Dolores didn't go near Faye's things, but one night she saw Faye slip a small box into her dresser drawer. One teeny peek couldn't hurt, she thought. Inside the box was a frog, but not just any frog. It was a special Valentine's Day frog necklace. When you pressed a button on its tummy, it croaked a sweet little tune. Wow, said Dolores, aren't you something? Then she heard Faye's footsteps in the hall. Got to put you back now, Froggy, whispered Dolores, or I'll be in big trouble. The next day at school, Dolores couldn't stop thinking about that frog. Valentine's Day was only 2 days away. Was Faye going to give the frog to her best friend Martha? Or had some boy given it to Faye? Dolores wondered. After school, while Faye was at soccer practice, Dolores took out the necklace. Don't look at me like that, Duncan, she said. I just want to try it on. Is that a crime? Boy, this clasp is tricky. It's not like I'm stealing it. I'll put it right back. There. Doesn't it look pretty? But then the front door slammed. Faye! There was no time to take off the necklace. Dolores shoved the box back into the drawer, ran downstairs, and covered her neck. How was soccer? She asked Faye, trying to sound casual. Okay, said Faye. The necklace was even harder to take off than it was to put on. Dolores wore it for the rest of the day. Do you have a sore throat? Asked Faye at dinner. At bedtime, Duncan accidentally pressed a button on the frog. What was that? Asked Faye. Duncan has a hiccup, said Dolores. I'll give him some water. In the bathroom, Dolores finally figured out how to open the clasp of the necklace. But then she changed her mind. If I wear the frog to school tomorrow, I can show it to Shirley, Dolores whispered to Duncan. I'll put it back after school and Faye will never know the difference. The next day, Dolores showed the necklace to Shirley. She knew her best friend would never tell. Who gave you that? Whispered Shirley. A secret admirer, said Dolores. It wasn't long before everybody knew that Dolores had a boyfriend who'd given her a frog. That's quite enough, said the music teacher, Miss Sharp, and she removed the necklace. It shall be returned to you, Dolores, at the end of class, when you have written the sentence, frogs do not belong in music, 30 times. Dolores was up to sentence number 27 when Faye and another 6th grader came into the room. We're the milk monitors for this week, said Faye. We baked these special Valentine's Day cupcakes for the music class. She smiled at Dolores. After school, Dolores raced home with the frog in her pocket. Faye really is a very nice sister. If I get home in time, I promise I will never ever borrow any of her things again. Shoo, said Dolores. I made it. She greeted Duncan with a big hug and a twirl and ran up the stairs. But when she reached inside her pocket, no frog. It must have fallen out on the way home, thought Dolores. What can I do? Then she had an idea. Dolores took the money she'd been saving for a special treat. She got the empty necklace box from Faye's drawer. It said, "Hearts, etc." That's next door to the animal hospital where we take Duncan, thought Dolores. Only a few minutes away by cab. But I can't take a cab without a grown-up unless it's an emergency. Here, Duncan, she called sweetly. I'm so sorry, Duncan, but you've had a serious accident, and you simply must see a doctor. Immediately. Taxi, emergency, Broadway Animal Hospital, and step on it. Poor thing, said the driver, looking at Duncan. Now that was easy, wasn't it? Said Dolores to Duncan. And this will just take a minute. You're a lucky girl, said the saleslady. This is the very last froggy necklace we have in stock. Now everything's going to be all right, thought Dolores. I have just enough money for cab fare home and 2 balloons. But Duncan had other ideas. Come back here, yelled Dolores. Who needs a cab, thought Dolores, as she paid Mr. Ying for the damage. It's a beautiful day. I'll walk. But suddenly the day was not quite so beautiful. What happened to you? Asked Faye when Dolores and Duncan finally got home. Oh, we had a little emergency, said Dolores, but it's all okay now. That night while Faye was asleep, Dolores slipped the box with the new necklace into Faye's top drawer. Go back to Faye, where you belong, you naughty bad luck froggy, whispered Dolores. But the next morning, when she came downstairs, there was a familiar-looking box next to her cereal bowl. Happy Valentine's Day, said Faye. For me? Stammered Dolores. I'm glad it's a surprise, said Faye. The funny thing is, yesterday I found this necklace at the bottom of the stairs. You did? Said Dolores. The empty box was on my bed, said Faye. So I put the frog back inside and hid it in my closet. Really? Said Dolores. But then, said Faye, when I opened my drawer this morning, there was another frog in another box. What's going on, Dolores? There's a very simple explanation, said Dolores. And what's that? Asked Faye. Dolores thought for a few seconds, then she smiled and said, Happy Valentine's Day, Faye. The end. I hope you all enjoyed this book. It's available at the Ingleside Public Library. Bye.